Association is accusing the National Petroleum Authority of acting unfairly in closing 36 LPG stations. They insist the authority should have informed them of the reasons for the closure, as they are partners in the industry. The NPA has closed down 36 out of 100 stations visited for various breaches of safety regulations. The visit and subsequent closures are part of measures to prevent explosions at gas stations like the Medina Atomic Junction incident this month. Public Relations Officer of the association, Bernard Oredu, however, says they are unhappy with these closures.
If the NPA goes to an outlet to carry out its operations and checks and probably make some findings, those findings should be known to us. That, okay, we were here and because of A, B, and C, we did this. But it looks like it was very much arbitrary. I mean, there was a case with one outlet where they asked for a document. The operator told them that it is at home and he should just be given time to go for it, but it was closed down. So we thought, I mean, such issues were not really, they were not sitting well with us. So we believe that definitely it will be because of some findings. That is why probably they shut an outlet. So we were of the view, at least we should know these findings by the NPA. We should know the criteria and where we fell short. And it's not as if the NPA doesn't go about its regular inspection. The special task force flowing from the directive of cabinet. The regular PA checks are there. They do that on a regular basis. They still have the times to which they do all these things. But this special task force by the NPA was flowing from the directive by cabinet. That is why we were of the view that just as they do their regular checks and maintenance work, we should be put in the know. We should be able to identify the reasons for the shutdown and all those things.
Meanwhile, the association has authorized its members to reopen their stations across the country. A statement released on Thursday announced a temporary suspension of inspection for inspection of the facilities by a scrutiny and maintenance task force, which required their shutdown. Speaking on News Desk on the JoyNews channel, Bernard Oredu said the task force will change their mode of operations after the suspension to remove the need for a national shutdown.
We are going to go ahead with planned scrutiny and maintenance, but it's going to be graduated. I mean, it won't be nationwide at a go. And besides, if we intend to also go by the planned maintenance and scrutiny, we will come out with a timetable informing Ghanaians as to which areas that will be affected by our activity. We will give a reasonable notice to the general public before we undertake the exercise. Before we start, we will let Ghanaians know. But as of yet, we've suspended the activity, but we will come back to it.
But sir, is it not possible to carry out these maintenance activities whilst the stations are operational? Because it involves some technical issues and issues of inspection of the installations. It is usually prudent that in doing this, you shut the outlet.
Meanwhile, the National Petroleum Authority is assuring the general public that the current review of regulations in the petroleum sector will not be inimical to the interest of stakeholders. LPG marketers have kicked against government resolve to enforce stricter regulations in the petroleum sector to combat the occurrence of gas explosions in the country. The CEO of the NPA, Hassan Tampoli, emphasized these new measures will not negatively affect convenience in the demand for gas.
The LPG bottling plants, the not more than 10 stations that I'm talking about, plants that I'm talking about, they are going to do the mass production of the cylinders, and they will supply filled cylinders to LPG distribution companies. So the current LPG stations that you find across the country, like I said before, are going to be the central point of the retail and distribution of the filled cylinders. So wherever you have been filling your cylinder now, you will not fill the cylinder there, but you go and pick a filled cylinder and give them an empty cylinder. I think their fear, is well appreciated, but that is also because they have not understood the policy, and that's probably because they haven't been taking part in some of the meetings that we have invited them to take part in. The supply from the LPG bulk distribution company in Tepo, with a minimum capacity of 4,000 metric tons, to the LPG bottling companies is going to be done by these tanker drivers. Do you understand? They are going to be the ones to do it. And when we fill the cylinders at the LPG bottling plants, it is these same drivers who will be driving different kind of trucks this time around, carrying the filled and empty bottles from the bottling station to the distribution company. And where necessary, they will also be moving them from the distribution company to the suppliers, everywhere that they can get a supplier, depending on the marketing model of the LPG distribution company. They can take it very far if the LPG distribution company is able to secure a supply arrangement for a company, for instance, or for the staff of Joy FM, who will be bringing your cylinders to you in the office here. And so the company, the drivers are supposed to be the ones to bring them here if it is convenient to do so. Do you understand? So that's how it's going to work.